All right, what is going on, Laker fans? Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Lakers Talk Daily, Monday through Friday, right here on ESPNLA, their YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Before I get into the Lakers, I know, Laker fans, I know. I'm wearing a San Diego Padre hat. I get it. I understand it. Don't hate me. You got to understand something. I grew up down in SD. I am a Laker fan, but I'm also a Padre fan. I'm going to the game. I'm going to the game here in a few hours, Dodgers and the Padres. Do I think it will be much of a series? Probably not. Dodgers will probably dominate, but let me rock my team's colors for the first time that they've actually been in a playoff game since 2006. I don't know if I really count 2020. They didn't even have any home games, so that's the reason for that. Now, we're on this channel to talk Lakers basketball, so I'm going to do that as well. All right, so something happened. A couple things happened yesterday I thought was interesting. I did Lakers Talk last night. If you guys haven't had a chance to listen to it, ESPNLA, if you download the app, it's got all the Lakers Talk stuff that we're doing on there from a radio perspective. On YouTube, I'll continue to do the, this page. I'll continue to do this content. But I want to get into one thing that came out of yesterday. So we know only 2 preseason games left for the Lakers. The good news is it sounds like Darvin Ham's going to use these final 2 games to give they'll play regular season minutes, there'll be regular rotations, and he's going to try as best as he can to figure out what the Lakers are going to use when they start the season on October 18th up in San Francisco against the Golden State Warriors. So that part I'm excited about because I can't determine anything of the Lakers so far. Because AD has played in a game. He played in the first game and the fourth game. LeBron, AD, Patrick Beverly, Russ, they missed game 3 and 4. So it's really hard to tell what the lineups are going to be. So I'm excited that these final 2 preseason games, one coming up tomorrow against the Minnesota Timberwolves, one coming up on Friday against the Sacramento Kings, that we're actually going to see these players play together and hopefully have some type of resemblance of what the Lakers are going to look like come opening night. The big news that came out of yesterday was potentially a small ball lineup for the Lakers. So Darvin Ham said this after practice yesterday. The Lakers are considering Anthony Davis at center. That is under heavy consideration, according to Darvin Ham. Okay, I got a couple thoughts on here. By the way, if you guys have some thoughts on AD playing the 5, feel free to comment below. If you want to slam me for wearing a Padre hat, completely understand as well. You could slam me below. But this is the one thing that I'll say about the starting lineup for the Lakers. They have used kind of a combination of let's go big, Damian Jones, Anthony Davis. Let's go small, Wenyen Gabriel, LeBron, the game that Anthony Davis sat out. And then in the last game, AD, they went big again. They put Anthony Davis at the 5. I don't mind it. I don't mind. If you said right now, I've said this, I keep pumping this. Ideally for me, I would have preferred Russ coming off the bench. Ain't going to happen, so just put him in the starting lineup because the Lakers are giving no indication that he's going to come off the bench. However, if AD is going to start at the 5, you got to have guys that play defense. You have to. You need to have players that are there to play defense, that defense is the foundation, and hopefully the Lakers kind of live off that mantra. First preseason game the Lakers played, I hated the starting lineup. Kendrick Nunn and Russell Westbrook was in your backcourt, and then it was Damian Jones, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. I don't want to see that for multiple reasons that I'll get into in a second. If you go AD at the 5, I'm all good with it. But have players in that starting lineup that play defense. What I feel like the Lakers may potentially do, Anthony Davis at the 5, Bron at the 4, Russell Westbrook, Patrick Beverly, Austin Reeves. I feel like the Lakers are leaning towards that. I could be completely wrong, but I feel like that's where the Lakers are leaning towards. If they did do that, I'm all right with it because there's 3 legitimate defenders in that starting lineup. Austin Reeves can play defense. He's all over the place. You're never going to question his hustle, any of that stuff. Anthony Davis is arguably the best, one of the best. Let me stop there. Giannis is the best 2-way player in the league. AD is one of the best 2-way players in the league. Anthony Davis obviously can play defense. Patrick Beverly is in this league because he plays defense. So, with all that being said, I want to set that up properly. For me, as long as you have defenders that are in that starting lineup, and Russ, it's going to be obviously up to him to show that he's ready every defensive play. I think Bron, if everybody else is pulling the rope properly, he'll give, what he can. But he is in his 20th season, so he's not going to be playing like the Bron in his 12th season or something like that on the defensive end. that at least you have a lineup that you feel like can push the ball up the floor. You got guys that can run. You play to AD's strength, which allows him to kind of be in the block a little bit more, but also at the same time be on the perimeter. And you got real defenders in there. So I'm okay with that starting five if they want to use AD at the five. I just think you got to have the right role players that are in the mix and a backcourt that has a little bit of a focus on the defensive side. Kendrick Nunn's got to come off the bench. He's come off the bench twice so far for the Lakers. Both times he had 20-plus points. He's an instant spark off the bench. Would love to see him come off the bench. I'd hate Kendrick Nunn to be in the starting lineup, and then you took out Austin Reeves. Let me just use that as an example. Because then who can you depend on off the bench that you feel like, okay, there's a good scoring punch. Okay, there's real pressure that we could put on the opposing team. And I think Kendrick Nunn actually answers that, in my opinion. Laker fans, I'm going to throw this out to you guys. You like AD at the five, and if AD is at the five, how do you round up the rest of that roster? I thought it was interesting, too. Dennis Schroeder did his presser yesterday. He's back with the Lakers. And he was talking about how I think we're actually going to get a different type of Dennis Schroeder. I think he's humbled these last couple of years. He's just trying to survive in the league, and I got a feeling he will do whatever the Lakers need him to do to help this squad and hopefully help himself in the process for some type of contract next year. But he talked about competition already. He can feel it with Patrick Beverley. I love the competition. I love that these guys are going to be fighting. I love that, the vibe certainly has a different feel to it early on, but I'm sure that's the case with every team because you haven't had really any ups and downs. You haven't had any hurdles that you had to go through. It's just the beginning of the season. But the bench, if you can have Kendrick Nunn come off the bench and you got some of these other guys that are in the starting lineup and it's defensively focused, then I'm all good for that. That's what I'm hoping for. Laker fans, thank you again for being a part of the show. Appreciate it. This is, we're really trying to push these YouTube numbers for ESPNLA. And I also put this up on Lakers Talk with Alan Sleewa, so you can catch it on both of them, both channels. But it's doing great, and so far, some great growth. So I appreciate you guys listening to our content. Monday through Friday, we're going to do this. Another Laker game coming up tomorrow against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And it sounds like we're going to actually see some lineups out there. We'll see what happens. So thank you for watching the episode, and we will get back with you guys tomorrow. Have a great night, Laker fans.